Hey Paint Party Headquarters. Okay, so I'm going to be teaching you the vintage Santa. I'm actually going to be doing it a little bit different today. Instead of it all the way down, like just facing towards it, I'm going to pretend like you are at a party with me. So in just a second, I'm going to turn on my paint party face and actually pretend like you are in a party with me so that you can see how I introduce the party, how I would go through and teach them step by step. And so I just want you to follow along. All of the step-by-step instructions are on a PDF or in the Dropbox, and then also all of the supplies list. So you won't have to worry too much about that. So go ahead and download that first so you have it. And then I also did a tracer. So this basically means that you can take this Santa, and it's like a puzzle. I used 4 pieces of computer paper, and so it's like a puzzle so that you can put it together, so you can print it and trace it into a 16 by 20. You see his face there? Anyway, once you kind of print that, trace it, then you can cut it out, turn it into a poster board, and a poster board copy, and then that way you can get this traced exactly on there. Or again, use the carbon copy, the black carbon paper stuff, and then you can just put it on there and trace so that you get the lines. Now, usually I say have everything drawn in just pencil. For this one, and you will see why as I teach you, I highly recommend go ahead and drawing it in Sharpie. That is how I'm going to do my Santas this year. I'm going to have this simple design drawn in Sharpie, and I think what we'll see as we get going is that this is going to be a shorter project. So that's going to be a lot of fun for Christmas events because people want to have fun. They want to do really great things. They want to drink and be merry and all of that thing, but they don't want to spend 3 hours on a painting. So this is going to be a really fun, easy, simple design. And then we're going to, at the end, add some snow text and some vintage elements to it so that they can go crazy as much as they want. But I'm going to start kind of just teaching you the basic stuff so that everyone can do it. Okay? All right, so I'm so excited. So I'm going to have Brendan do her magic. Brendan? Her magic, and then I'm going to go into teaching mode like I'm at a party, okay? All right, let's go. Hey guys, oh my gosh, I am so excited you are here with me to learn the vintage Santa. So thank you. I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for being here. Because of people like you, I get to do what I love. So I just want to say thank you so much. And I also want to say in a little bit, we're going to do a shout out for the Crazy Christmas Sweater Contest. I have lots of fun door prizes. So make sure you fill out the door prize survey, which we have, Oh, and here's our helpers. Let me go ahead and show you because they're going to be passing out the door prize survey in a little bit. So I just want to say Trisha is here. Go ahead and raise your hand, Trisha. Okay, she's right over there. And then also we have Sheree over here. So I just want to say if you need anything at all, Trisha, Sheree, and myself are going to be here helping you. Oh, I almost forgot, Pixie's here today. She's been doing a lot of tumbling lately, so she's missed a lot of parties because she is going crazy with her tumbling stuff. But she's here tonight, so I'm so excited. So Pixie's the one with the elf ears running around. Oh, there she is. Okay, Pixie. She will also have a door prize survey as well. So we're gonna have a door prize survey. So if you don't mind filling that out, we're also, in a little while, we're gonna stop and have a, crazy Christmas sweater contest, and we're gonna have tons of prizes for you. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. And I am, again, so thankful you're here, and I just want you to know that it's not about being perfect with this, okay? So I want everybody who has ever painted before to raise your hand. Yay, okay, great. Now I want everybody who has never painted before to raise your hand. Oh my gosh, you're my favorite customers, okay? You know why? Because when you're done with this, you're gonna be so surprised at how it turns out. Now I want you to remember that it's all comes together at the very end of this. So don't be scared when you're doing this thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be awful. I promise you, those few little lines that we add at the end make it all come together. So everybody take a deep breath. One more deep breath, let's go. Okay, let's have some fun. Feel free to take breaks as you need. Feel free to have some fun. I'm gonna crank up some music just in a minute. But also, if you do make mistakes, it's not the end of the world because we have baby wipes, okay? Baby wipes erase everything. So if you have something that you don't like that you did, just say baby wipe emergency, yell it out, and me, Trisha, Cherie, or Pixie will come running with the baby wipe and we'll help you, okay? If it's already dried and you don't like it, don't worry. Let it dry in 5 minutes. We'll go right over it, all right? So I want everybody to grab your big brush. Grab your big brush, hold it up. Okay, so we are going to start with something pretty simple. We're gonna use our blue paint unless you decided to use a different color, which is totally fine. Again, you can paint any colors you want, but I'm gonna use a blue paint and I'm just gonna paint the whole background around my Santa. All right, so all of this area is going to be painted blue. So just take your big brush, just kind of get some paint on both sides, and then we're just gonna fill all of this in. And again, if you decided to use a different color, totally fine. All right, guys, I am going to crank up the music and we are going to have some fun. All right, and I'll show you in just a few minutes the next steps. And then what I do here is usually I won't paint this. Like I might like really quick, if I have a really big crowd, I might really quickly, like super quick, paint this really fast. And then all I do is I grab this and I will walk around and borrow people's paint at their tables. I'll walk around and I'll be filling in while I'm talking. So this is what it looks like. Hey, how's it going? Oh, do y'all have anything fun like planned for the holidays? Are y'all doing anything exciting? Oh, we're gonna go on a cruise, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're going on a cruise? Oh my gosh, where are y'all headed? And then I just let them talk and have fun. Again, I'm not asking them like sad things. Yes, of course, sometimes sad things come up and we talk about it. But when I'm walking around doing this, again, I'm just walking around helping. If somebody needs help, I'm immediately helping them. My focus goes to them. That is so much more important than me sitting here painting this, I promise you. Building those relationships, having fun, listening to them, that is way more important than me being up at the front. I promise you, it's so much more important, okay? So what I want you doing is, even if you're borrowing people's paint, I want you walking around the room, asking about their life. You know, I mean, if it's somebody that's kind of like, it's kind of awkward, because at first it does get awkward. But here's my kind of secret tool. So if I'm ever in a room and it's kind of awkward, I'll just kind of start walking up to people, kind of painting and just saying, hey, y'all having fun? And then I'll say, oh, like to one person, don't do it to a whole crowd because then it gets awkward. But to like to one person, just saying like, hey, is there anything new or exciting going on in your life right now? And then I just kind of wait for them to answer. And usually, you know, as I'm doing this, it's not like a, hey, is there anything new and exciting going on in your life? No. I'm like painting, so I'm not staring at them. Hey, is there anything new or exciting going on in your life right now? And then I wait. And then usually what happens, most of the time, is they'll start going, oh yeah, I have my grandkids for this, you know, for this weekend, or oh my gosh, we're going ice skating, or, you know, oh, we just did this concert, or they start to think about the fun things that are happening in their lives. And then what happens then is things start to spin off. So then you have the person next to them go, wait, you went to that, you know, you went to that place, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh my gosh, you went to that concert too? You know, my friend was there. You know, they were at Lady Antebellum and they said it was awesome. Or, you know, yeah, I, you know, redid my plants this weekend. I took my whole porch and I redid this. And then it just, again, spins off into, oh man, we just redid our bathroom. It's really important also to make sure that you are keeping the music going. So I recommend, and I'm just going to set this here because y'all know y'all's job is to carry it around. But it's really important to keep the music going. It's really important to make sure, like, you know, one time I had this playlist and I like, you know, some like some different music sometimes. Like I like some slower songs, especially when I'm painting. I just like to be mellowed out. Well, at a paint party, slow songs are the death of a paint party. So do not do slow songs. Do 80s, 80s pop music always seems good, like 80s hits. It's kind of like the old skating rink music. Imagine Dragons Station. If you've never heard them, they're wonderful. Imagine Dragons Station. And if you don't have like Amazon Music yet or Spotify, it is worth it. Like always have it and then bring a little speaker that you can Bluetooth to, because even when you're at a place that has music, sometimes their music might stop. Or sometimes, they can't get to their music, but if you have yours downloaded, then you have control. I always have my phone in my back pocket to not only take pictures when I see things that are like perfect for pictures, but I also have it there so that like, okay, I'm about to finish the step. I can pause the music and then now I got their attention because the room has gone quiet. Okay, so that's just a little tip. Okay, so we're about to go to the next step. So I'm just gonna be checking on everybody, making sure that they got this, and then making sure they're painting their edges as they go along. And when you have Christmas parties, I highly recommend having an ugly Christmas sweater. This past year, I did it for the first time, and man, they came fully ready. Like one lady dressed as a full-on Christmas tree, and I had just tons of little prizes. It doesn't have to be anything major. We had like the bartenders and the wait staff actually judge the winners, and we made a big deal out of it. We did kind of like okay, we're gonna announce the winners. All right, who's third place? And we just kind of had fun. I think I even had Pixie one time do the placement of it. And then also another fun thing is, the door prize surveys, which if you go into the files, you'll see the door prize surveys. If you go in there and you can make one up to your liking, I do highly recommend just having one place where they can write. The rest kind of have yes, no answers. And usually mine are like, were the directions easy to follow? Would you want to have like host an event at your house? Do you have recommendations for a large event? Please put a name. I'd really appreciate it. And then I put at the end, I always say something like, please let me know any feedback. I love constructive criticism to make my parties better. So something like that. And then at the end, I know some of y'all were asking these questions. You're like, how do I do this? Or how do I do the Facebook likes, door prize? Here's how I do it. Okay, so all the papers for the door prize survey, I just kind of mix them up. I say, okay, we're gonna announce usually it's around, like let's say the party's 6 to 8:30. Usually around 8 o'clock, I'll start announcing door prizes. And I'll say, okay, and I start mixing them up and I say, we're gonna announce the door prize survey. And then what I do is I'll have like one of the painters and I'll say, okay, close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. And I'll have her close her eyes and then I'll say, okay, draw one. And I'll just kind of do this in front of her. And then she'll just randomly pick one. And that's how I pick the winner. And then I say the name. And then as far as door prizes go, it can be a bunch of little gifts from the dollar store. I like to get the silly antlers around Christmas time. I like to put candy in there. If you have more in your budget, let's say you have a party of 50, in Christmas, that is very doable at restaurants and churches. What I like to do is I like to buy a little bit more expensive gifts. Like during the summer, I always do those really cute beach towels. They're like $12, or you can get them at the Dollar General for even cheaper. I like to do things that look really fun. So during Christmas, I'll always go to Walmart. They're usually only a couple dollars, but they have really cute ornaments. So if you go around October, beginning in November, you can get the cutest Christmas ornaments at Walmart for just a couple bucks. So I'll usually go buy maybe 10 of them and then just put them in cute little gift bags with some candy. And then that's going to be the door prizes. And then I might have a big grand door prize where the restaurant will donate like a $20 gift card or something like that too. And then always for Christmas, put the silly antlers and say, okay, yeah, you got to wear them, because people will put them on and then they'll keep painting with them. And it's just so much fun. Lighted necklaces at the dollar store are also really fun. And then here's how I do the Facebook door prize. So those of you that are I'm going to go ahead and paint the red hat. So basically what you'll say is, okay, you'll pause the music, Guys, we're gonna paint the red hat now. Just take your brush, rinse it. Go ahead and go to the red. It is very important, y'all, Paint Party Headquarters, that you have a good deep red. This one is Deco Art Americana Tuscan Red. If you have a light or an orangish red, it ruins Christmas. I'm just kidding, it doesn't ruin Christmas, but it will ruin your Christmas paintings, okay? So while I paint the red hat, I'll tell you how I do Facebook likes. So the other door prize that you can do too, and again, if you're just now starting, don't feel like you have to have every door prize possible right now. You don't have to do all the ways that you do it, but if you have a Facebook likes competition, what that means is that you give them a little piece of paper, and I think we have a copy of it in the files, and it says, take a picture. It says step 1, take a picture with you and your friends, post on your personal page, and tag Texas Art and Soul and whatever restaurant it is or whatever location. And then what you do is you have them tag it, and then they can even say in there, hey, I'm in a contest to win a prize. Can you like this? And what happens is at the end of the night, usually around 8 o'clock again, I'll say, okay, did everybody get their likes in? We're about to announce. And I might, during the event, announce one more time, like, hey, don't forget your Facebook likes. How y'all doing? Are y'all getting likes like that, so that they kind of keep engaged with it? And then all I do is I use the honor system, and I just go, I pretend like I'm an auctioneer. And I go, okay, we're going to announce the Facebook likes winner. So you're going to win this prize if you have the most likes. All right, who has 5 likes? And then you'll have a bunch of people raise their hand. Who has 10 likes? Some hands will go down. Who has 20 likes? Some hands will go down. Oh my gosh, who has 25 likes? Some hands will go down. Okay, we're going for 25, we're going for 30. Who has 30 likes? Who has 30? Just be kind of silly with it. And up your energy. I know for some of y'all that might be really introverted, this might be really crazy, but you don't have to do it crazy like that. But I find when you're decorated and people look like Christmas trees, they're there to have a good time. So just have fun, right? So then I'll say, okay, oh my gosh, let's see. And then finally it'll get to the last 2. And I'll say, okay, what do you have? What do you have? And then they'll tell me. And then I'll give them the prize after that. So the only time I really go look is if somebody's like, I have, 89 and I have 89. Then I'll actually go, oh, come here, let's see. And then we'll look at it and see. And if that happens, then if I have 2 door prizes, I'll give both. But if I only have one restaurant gift certificate, I might give one person the restaurant gift certificate if there's a tie, and then I'll give the other person, hey, you can come paint with me for free. Just make sure when you sign up, you email me and tell me. That way it's off my plate. I don't have to try to track it, and then they'll email me. And I've been doing that a long time. I can promise you, I don't get people that are like, hey, you gave me a free thing, because I do it very few and far between. So people don't take advantage of that. So that's just another way. All right, so you're just painting the hat. Because this is a kind of glossy-ish, it needs to be on there. Just let people know to get it on there. And if they're not totally, just to kind of get it fully covered. And then they can always come back over little spots if they need to. But go ahead and just get it fully covered. Because it needs a little bit of time to dry so that we can add glitter. Usually just say cover it all the way because we're going to put glitter on top anyway. So just cover it all the way. And it's okay if you accidentally hit those black lines a little bit. Alright guys, rinse your brush. We're going to go to the next step. Alright, I want you to take your medium brush. There should be 3 brushes and there's a medium brush. And I want you to take it and paint your star gold. Or whatever color you like. I'm using metallic not glorious gold, 24 karat gold. It's Deco Art Americana, bright metallic. And because it's the bright metallic, it's gonna go on really good. Okay guys, once you have your gold star painted, we're gonna rinse our brush and we are going to either use the same size brush, or if you're a little nervous, you can go to the smallest brush. And then I'm going to be using, it's a coral shell that got rolled in red, apologize about that. But any kind of peachish color is fine. If people want to do a darker colored Santa, they can mix a little bit of the colors. So they can mix a little bit of the darker brown, or even raw sienna. Raw sienna is a good color to kind of mix if you want your Santa a little tanner. I did this years ago. I brought white, red, brown, and a yellowish so that people could mix their shade of Santa. It was a nightmare. We had everything so crazy. It was just a very big lesson learned. I think there was 60 people at that party. And, you know, for an artist person, you know, mixing those colors and knowing how to kind of change it up if you need to is, I mean, that's just, I don't know, it just kind of comes natural. But for a beginner or somebody who's just trying to have some Christmas cookies and drink some wine with their friends, like they don't want to think about trying to mix all these colors. So what I want you to do is have a couple of colors mixed already. So have a basic peach color, whether you just, you know, buy a peach or a, like mine, this coral, and then have a raw sienna here, and then also have a, like a brown color, so that they can mix them together. And because we did this in Sharpie, this is another reason Sharpie is really important on this painting, is these little details that I'm hitting, it's okay. Okay, so what I like to do is have the customers at this point just have a little bit of raw sienna, or if you don't have a raw sienna, it's kind of just a mustardy brown color. And I just like for them to take their messy brush. So I'll say, hey guys, don't rinse your brush yet. Just take your brush that's messy, dip a little bit into the brownish mustardy color. And then while this is wet, just kind of almost like in little small circles, just kind of blend in a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit to the left of his face. We're just giving him a little bit of a shade. And if you are not real comfortable with this step, you don't have to do it, okay? You can just keep it as paint his face one color and we're done. Move to the next, okay? It's kind of like when you're in a yoga class and they're like, oh, you can, you know, do the warrior pose. And if you're really good, you can do the blah, blah, blah. And if you're really good, you can grab down here, right? Well, sometimes if we're not really comfortable with grabbing all the way like this, then we don't want to tell our customers to do that, because if they need help, it's going to be hard for us to come help them, right? So if you're uncomfortable doing this little shading area, then by all means, just keep it peach. Because when you look at it up close, it's just a small hint. So it's not like you're really going to miss out if you don't do that. All right, so the next part, and again, I told y'all this is kind of a fun, fast, easy painting. The next part is really cool because we're going to take little hints and we're going to be making it kind of scruffy. So I guess scruffy's that we're going to make it vintagey. So we're going to go back to our big brush that's clean. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some white paint. And then I'm going to use, you can use either the 24 karat gold, or I like to use this glorious gold. It's just a little bit more like antique-ish. So I'm going to just put some of that out on my plate. So if you're giving this plate to your customers, you can have the white with a little bit of the antique gold. And then all I want to do is just start kind of taking big chunks of white with this antique gold on there. See how it has both? And I'm just going to start kind of going into almost like it's a wave. Just kind of following the lines. So as I start to run out of paint, I'm going to dip back into the white especially if I have a lot of antique gold, and then I'm just going, well, glorious gold, start to blend it. Okay, so I'm going back and forth from white to antique gold. And again, your customers might be like, oh my gosh, I'm just not sure. It all starts to come together at the end. So we're just kind of getting foundation layers. And I know some of y'all, I know like some of y'all think, okay, see how that gold, how that starts to look? Then I can dip straight back into the white and just kind of start to blend it. And I might want even a little bit more gold showing. So this is where I would advise your customers to just start having fun and just, adding a little extra where they want it. The goal is just to not have it totally plain white. Because yes, it's his hair and he's an old man, but we don't want it just solid white or they wouldn't even need to paint it, right? We want it to kind of have an antique look. So some of y'all, if you were just painting this at home, of course you'd probably be totally silent. If you were just talking to a friend, you would probably talk kind of like this. When you're up in front of a crowd, I know sometimes it seems like, well, I'm not that person, Heidi. I can't be that animated. Well, it's just like when you're on a video. So right now, even the way I'm talking right now, and you may think it sounds normal, it is amplified about 5 times than my normal talk to my husband or my daughter. It's that way. You have to amplify yourself when you're in a crowd, and it is energy sucking. I'm not gonna lie. When I do Facebook Lives or when I do paint parties, at the end of it, it's kind of like when you're, those of you that have been a teacher. When you're up there trying to get a point across to kids, there's some energy that it takes to get that point across. So when you're out there teaching people and you're teaching them this vintage Santa, if I was just showing my husband, I might say something like this. I'm going to give you an example. I might say, yeah, I'm just going to put a little gold right here. And I'm just going to kind of, pretend my husband's right there. I'm just going to kind of like, just put a little bit here. But if I'm teaching a crowd, I'm going to say it like this. Okay, guys, I'm going to take my big brush. I'm going to have a little bit of gold, a little bit of white. See how I'm like changing my voice, the way it sounds. I'm going to kind of go up and down and just kind of fill in. Just fill in these colors here. Just kind of having fun with it. Now, you may think it looks a little too dark right now. Don't worry. Remember the trick I told you about adding the white on top? So you can kind of go in, just have fun with it, and then go back to pure white, and then start adding that white right on top of it to help blend it. Now this is what's gonna make it have this really fun vintage look, okay? So just kind of have fun with it, keep playing with it, and then for those of you that are a little risky, I want you to take a little bit of turquoise and start adding that turquoise in too. So if you're like, I don't know if I can do that, Heidi, then I want you to watch me, because I'm just gonna take my same brush, I'm just gonna dip it into a little bit of turquoise and watch what happens. So I'm just gonna just here and there, just add little hints of turquoise. Nothing major, but just little hints. And you can see how it kind of even mixes with my golds, and it's almost giving it that muted turquoise look. You see the difference in how I was talking? To just normal, to I'm on stage, I'm talking to a group, right? You gotta just, even if you're an introvert, and I know some of y'all don't believe me, but I am a very, I love my time alone. I love my time to just create and not have to always be always on person, because, when you're teaching paint parties, you kind of have to, that's the person. We're having a party. If you're the host of the party, you don't want them to come to a boring party, right? You want them to have fun and know that mistakes are okay and it's going to work out, right? So we're going to do the same thing with the part of the hat. So I'm going to go back. Again, I have not washed my brush. A little bit of white, a little bit of gold. I'm just going to kind of start up top. And I have a lot of blue in here. I'm just putting little hints. And because there's a lot of blue in there, I'm going to rinse my brush real quick, and then I'm going to go back with pure white. And now I'm just gonna kind of cover some of that in a messy way. So I just dipped it into the white. Now I'm just gonna kind of, almost like in a circular motion. So I'm keeping the center of the hat pretty white. Back to white. So it's almost like you're making the beard and the hat part just kind of dirty looking. And the reason for that is to kind of give it this vintage feel. So every part of the canvas has to be touched. Even though his beard is white, technically, it still has to be touched with some of that glorious gold. The glorious gold is really going to make a big difference. If you don't want to go get this at Michael's, the glorious gold, you can also get it at, you can order it online. But I just highly recommend for this painting specifically, this one gives it that kind of just vintage feel. You could also probably use a rose gold and have some of the same effects. But I don't love rose gold as much as I love this. Okay, and don't worry too much about the black lines. We want to be able to see where they're at because we are going to go over those again, but we just need to have, you know, kind of where they're at. Okay, so then we're going to use this messy brush still. And now we're going to go back into that glorious gold with my messy brush. And we're just going to kind of make this hat just a little bit messy too. So just here in the corner and maybe a little bit in here. Just a little bits, just not a lot. Just going into the glorious gold. And just little hints here and there. Okay, just so it has that same kind of effect as the rest of it. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse my brush so it's pretty clean. And then now what I wanna do is take pure black and start tracing all of the outline of this. So some people may be comfortable with the smallest brush, but for the most part, I like to use the biggest 1-inch brush. I like to go this way and this way to where my brush is really good and flat. I have a little split in the middle, so I'm gonna just kind of wiggle it out. So go this way and this way where it's really flat. And then all I do is just start to trace over. So if I hold it, I want you to see how I'm holding it. Straight at it, straight down. I'm going to show you really close. Holding it. It's like riding a bike. You're watching where you're going, not where you've been. Or not where you are, okay? So if I'm starting here, if that corner gets too tight, I need to switch brushes. So I won't do that part yet. All my bristles are touching. See that? So a lot of times, well, sometimes I'll have customers that have, like, they shake really bad or they can't hold their hands real steady. And so I will, as I'm talking to them and getting to know them, I'll do this process for them. So I don't make a big announcement about it because, again, I don't, you know, if there's 50 of them, it's going to be really hard. But as you're walking around, you'll notice those people that are really struggling with this part. And if they are, you can just kind of say, hey, do you want some help? I don't mind doing this part for you. And as you can see, as you get practice and you get used to this, it's really fast because I'm just going in there. But you'll see how it starts to make a huge difference in the end result of this painting. And this is where people start to get really excited. And see how I kind of made that mistake there? In 5 minutes, I can just go in with a little bit. See right there, that little mistake? In 5 minutes, I can go in with just a little bit of white and cover it. So no big deal. It's actually easier to let it dry than to try to go in with a baby wipe with black paint over white. It'll just be too much of a headache. And this part is really, really fun. It's really fun because it's like painting waves. As far as pricing, I recommend, depending on where you're at, if you're doing these on canvas, you could do $35 a canvas and probably have huge sales for that. So I would recommend doing $35 for canvas. If you decide to do this on wood, pallet wood, I would do 40 or 45. Again, across the board, 35 is very, very good. That's pretty normal. And you can get good signups with that number. But if you have a lot of like if you're a person who's booking a lot, then I would recommend going to 40 just so you can like maybe have some time to breathe. Because again, you want to, as you go into this holiday season, it only takes, 2 or 3 really great fall paintings and 2 or 3 really great Christmas paintings to make a great amount of money. So here's what I want to remind you. Okay, so let's say you're in Paint Party headquarters. You have rights to these. You have rights to the ones from last year too. But please do not cancel your membership and then still think you have rights to all the paintings. Okay, I know it's a subject I don't like to talk about a lot, but we have a whole spreadsheet now that Brendan's here, and I have a few other people on my team now, so they do periodically go back and check just to see if people are just taking our stuff. So please be mindful of that. So as you're a member, of course you have rights to all this. But what I want to remind you is that, a few paintings will make your season. So for those of you that think I got to have 16 choices. No, I think most of us made all our money last year on this, which I think we will still have some success. I am predicting still success with this year. And if you haven't done this yet, it is in the tutorials for Paint Party headquarters. So I think between this, the truck and the tree, the awesome Christmas tree, ceramic Christmas tree that Leanne has shared, and then of course we have some other stuff, and we have some guests coming up with some stuff as well. I think this Christmas you are going to be just fine with your stuff. But here's the thing I wanted to say about Christmas designs and fall designs is you have got to go into your calendar and decide where you want your family time. Because here's the thing that's really cool about paint parties, but then if you don't schedule it right, you can be hitting yourself. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go in and make sure if there's any traditions that you normally do with your family, like Thanksgiving week, me and Pixie, I usually take her to ice skate, and we always go to the American Girl store, and we just go there forever, and it drives me nuts. But it's kind of like a tradition, and she loves doing it. Now, she's 13, so I don't know how long that'll last, so I will go as long as she wants me to, right? So here's the thing with that. If I don't put that in my schedule, and then all of a sudden I start booking all these parties for the Santa. By the way, I switched to a small liner brush. This is a fine tip liner size 2 it's called Creative Mark from Jerry's Art Aroma. Fine tip creative, I love this thing. I'll put the link in for it. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if every December, the first week of December, you and your family, do an ornament gift exchange at grandma's house, you need to put that in. Or if you do stuff but it's not planned yet, and I know it seems crazy, but I already have parties booked from now to December with some of my repeat customers. So what you'll want to do is make sure, this is just a little V, like a V, it's just a little V with a little half like a D almost. So it's just a V with a little curve, okay? But what you'll want to do is if you have these kind of traditions, or where you do Christmas with the family, on my husband's side, a certain weekend of the month, you want to go ahead and go into your schedule right now and put those dates that you cannot be teaching paint parties. The reason why I say that is because I personally have missed so many things because I didn't put the dates down, and then I started just booking stuff. And when you get into the crazy funness of booking fall and Christmas paint parties, it gets so exciting because you'll just, before you know it, the end of September will be here, and then you'll look up and January's here. Like, it just will pass you by if you let it. And it's, for those of you that are wanting a lot of business, it's a wonderful, great thing. It's a very exciting time. But I don't want you to look back and go, that was great, I had a lot of money and we had a great Christmas, but I feel like I wasn't a part of it. So you can right now intentionally go into your schedule and schedule those things out. And if you don't know when they're going to happen, at least put some no schedule times. Because when people contact you, then you have the freedom to go, hey, I have these dates open. And again, I told you, Fridays and Saturdays aren't really the best days for paint parties. So book that stuff on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and then that way you still have your weekends and all of that time free. I usually stop my paint parties around the 20th of December. So I usually don't schedule anything after the 20th of December, and I do that purposely, and then I don't start rebooking until the end of January. So this is important for y'all that just think, okay, I'm going to have Christmas, and then January 1st, we're going to start doing word of the year paintings. It can work. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I am saying after many, many years of experience, it is very important that you remember, as you have all of these parties, to put that money aside. That's why we talk about you putting some of it aside, because that way when January, I usually hibernate in January. I like to have just this time of hibernation because I've been going so much with all of my parties that I like to have that time of rest. We can't, it talks about in the Bible, we can't always be in this go mode. It's not healthy. It's not good for us. And so with that, make sure you're taking time to rest. You're taking time to rejuvenate, because then again, spring will come and more parties will come. But there is a season to it. So don't be pushing, having all this fun with the parties and think, okay, I had my 2 weeks off for Christmas time and now January 1st, I'm ready to go. No, you have to remember that, there's even a time. Yes, I'm not saying you can't, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Yes, book parties if you want. But what I have learned in this business and what I recommend is kind of having a timeout. But put money aside from all of these vintage Santas and Christmas trees and trucking trees and all of that and pumpkins galore. Put some money aside so in January you're not like, oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how many times we had the best Christmas ever, and then the first few weeks of January I couldn't book a party, and then I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my mortgage, or how am I going to pay my rent, So I'm saying this from experience, and if you end up booking a ton of parties and you put that money aside, great for you, go out to eat, have a shopping trip, do something fun, book something, whatever, have a fun experience, but don't just, okay, yes, it worked here, now January is going to be 14 parties, you've got to be wise, okay? I was not wise. That's why I'm telling you this. You have to be wise. And also what'll be a little bit of an education for your family too is they will see, especially if you're doing the things I'm telling you to do with these certain paintings, they will start to see wow, you just had a party of 20 people, times $30. Let's say you charge $35 and $30 is your profit. That's $500. They're like, oh my gosh, my wife just made that in 2 hours, $500. That's crazy money. they might think, oh, it's gonna come January 2nd. Oh, it's still gonna come January 15th. Well, no, there's a season to it. So you have to kind of, be mindful and let your family know too. Like, yes, I know this was a great amount of money, but out of that 500, I need to put, whatever you want. But I recommend, putting, 100 to 150 away, stash that away. Now I have another party. I just made 350. Oh, I'm going to put, 60 of that away, or whatever percentage you decide. But just be wise with that so that you're not in a place of, oh, it was so great and now it's not, Okay, so now I'm going to take some blacks and I'm just going to kind of like add in some lines. And again, I'm just kind of making some messy lines in here. And then just to kind of make it a little bit more vintagey. So it's just kind of out of the, just kind of brushing it in a little bit. So tell your folks, here's how I would tell them at a paint party. Hey guys, I'm gonna take the big brush now with some black paint, and I'm just gonna very messily, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm gonna messily start adding just some little strokes in here to kind of give it that vintage vibe. And then I would walk around as I do this. So I don't want to get too crazy because I don't want like a zillion black strokes on here, but I want a few, okay? So once I get some on there, how I want them, then I'm gonna go into the white. So I'm gonna rinse my brush. So I'll say, okay, after you get some of that on there, I want you to rinse your brush. And after you rinse your brush, we are going to add just some hints of white. Oh, I forgot to add it on the star. Let me go back to the star. So on the star, I'm just gonna add just, a few little hints. I might wanna use my middle round brush. Okay, and then now I'm gonna go in with some whites. So I'm gonna take my big brush again, make sure it's really clean. And if it's not perfectly clean, it's not the end of the world. Just get it as best you can. Then go ahead and get some pure white. And then now all I'm gonna do is just kind of add in the hat, just some little pure white lines. All right, so I just added some pure white lines, and then I'm gonna make sure that I just have every once in a while some pure white in this beard. Just big, chunky white lines. They could even have some texture to them. Okay, so I have some big, chunky white lines. I'm gonna put a few in the hat. Okay, y'all, so I'm gonna be painting the eye. What I like to do is take the smallest brush, again, the liner brush, dip a little bit of pure black paint, and then we're just kind of putting some lines. Oh, sorry. Just kind of filling it in a little bit right here. It does not need a lot. As you can see, it's just a little bit of kind of a half circle. And then if you want to put like a little white dot in there, you just take a little bit of white, pure white, and you can put just a little dot and then another little one kind of right beside it. And I don't really love that, honestly. I'm just gonna paint it solid black. Not the whole thing. I'm just gonna paint over that white I just did. So I just want it to be like that. Simple, sweet, done, right? And then if you want to add just little hints, but I don't recommend too much unless they're really artsy, to add some little hints for eyelashes. But it works fine with just it being like that. Okay, so then we're almost done with the steps. Now we're gonna go back to our biggest brush, and this is where I want y'all to have some fun with it. So we're just gonna kind of mix some of those colors we've been using to give this background kind of a vintage look. So I'm gonna go in with some of the gold, the metallic vintage gold, and I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of that blue that we had. I was using Calypso blue, and I'm going to use a little bit of the metallic gold, that goldish color, and I'm just going to kind of up and down, adding it here to the background. And again, I'm going back and forth between this gold, metallic gold, and this is where you can tell, I'm just putting the gold with a little bit of the blue. And this is where you can tell your customers like to just have so much fun with this background. And this is where you'll start to see tons of personality come out. You'll see a lot of fun, like people adding glitter and things like that when you start to do this process. So I'm just going back and forth between gold and blue and just kind of wisping it in to give it more of a vintage look. Almost like you're just antiquing it. Okay? All right, so once they've antiqued it, kind of got it on there where it's antiqued. Now the optional steps, which I think are mandatory, you can show them these things. So if you want to bring clear glitter and then also snow text. So this is so much fun. It needs to be dry to put it on there. So you would tell them, hey, let it dry. And then what they can do is they can take their finger, dip it in there, and then add small areas to the beard. I don't recommend doing the whole thing or you'll just cover up all your work. But if you take it, dip it in your finger like this, and then they could start to add areas. And so when you do that and you look at it up close, see how it has the texture? And then also when things are dry, so that's fun to put on the beard and the hat. And then also as things are dry, then you can use the clear glitter, and then you can tell them to use either their finger or a clean brush. But I also say, who's ready for glitter? Oh my gosh, so here's a really fun thing to do. You can use the brush, but please promise me you will put it in the water cup because it will destroy them. So if they take the brush, especially on the hat, and they start to just put clear glitter, as long as it's dry, it's going to look magnificent. Now, I'm telling you, this is what makes like Christmas parties and fall parties and all paint parties really fun, is using metallics, using these the snow text, using the stuff that not everybody will use, you know, because to go buy a thing of this is not cheap. You know, it's not like the 50-cent paint at Walmart. However, if you're charging the right amount, you're still making a profit every party, and people are getting an experience with paint that they might not normally get, and they're leaving with something that, you know, they not only painted, but they used their fingers and created and had all these like extra little fun, exciting things that they might not normally have at just a normal paint party experience. So again, the music is playing the whole time, they're adding glitter, and then here's how I would start to end it, okay? So I'll say something like, oh my gosh, look at, you know, I'll grab, maybe I see somebody's painting that's really awesome, and I'll go grab their, and I'll say, hey, do you mind if I show this off? And so I'll grab, let's say, Susan's painting, and I'll say, oh my gosh, look at Susan's painting, didn't she do awesome? And then everybody will be like, oh wow, and they'll say, hey guys, can y'all look at your neighbor's painting for a second and just, you know, see what you think. You know, take a break from yours and look at your neighbors and maybe tell them one thing that you like about it. And I do that with kids events, but I also do that with adult events too, because a lot of times they get really just staring at their own painting and they forget to get up, they forget to take a break, and then when they come back to it, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. So giving them, you know, not only praise from a neighbor, but also to look away from their painting, have a purpose for looking away, and then coming back to the painting that is happening now. What I'll say is, okay guys, it's 8:15. We are going to do a group picture at 8:25. Now, I know some of y'all are not quite finished yet, but don't worry, you'll have a little bit of time after. But to make sure we stick to the schedule, because I know some of y'all have babysitters or have places to go, I would love to get your picture. So if you're already finished, if you don't mind, just put your brushes in your water cup, and then if you'll come see me so I can get a picture of you and your painting, that would be awesome. For the rest of you, at 8:25, we're gonna do a big group picture. If you are finished with your, you and your friends are all finished, just come up to me. I'd love to take a picture of you with your cell phone, as well as, if you don't mind, with my phone too. And then please, anything you post on Facebook, if you would please tag me, Heidi Easley. If you're not friends with me yet, please send me a friend request, Heidi Easley. And then also tag Texas Art and Soul. Also, I'm gonna post all of these pictures on Texas Art and Soul. People that may not want that, they're gonna let you know. So you don't have to stress so much about, oh my gosh, does this person want to be on Facebook? Don't worry about that, because they will tell you. And then what I do is I'll just go through and delete any pictures of them really quick. And then that way, when I go to post later that night, I never have to worry about posting somebody that doesn't want to be posted. Okay guys, so then I'll do group pictures, and then I'll just say, as you know, people, because I truly believe when you're doing these holiday parties, and if you have, 15, 20 people or more, hire one for every 10 people you have. And the reason why is a couple things. Number one, it makes everything so smooth. Number two, it gives everybody the help they need when they need it. Number three, it is great for the restaurant because they are seeing us take care of the customers, in our way, where they can do the drinks and the food, and then we're able to have this awesome event, and that's when you have repeat customers. I have a venue from last year that only has me do fall and Christmas. And I messaged her the other day and said, I know it's early, but I'm looking to book the fall and Christmas event. Is it okay? And we had like 55 people at that Christmas event, and it went flawlessly. It was amazing. And she's like, yes, let me check my dates. And I hired, I think, 6 people, and there were 55 people there. So I hired over, because I told my helpers, I want you to be bored at this event. Like, I want it to run so smoothly that you were bored. And because of that, everybody was happy. Everybody left happy. The workers were paid $10 an hour. I made plenty of profit right before Christmas. It was a great thing all around. So I want you to not be greedy sometimes with the money you're bringing in. I used to be like, no, I need that extra $50, where now I'm like, it is worth showing up in a better place and not being frazzled and for minus $50, because you're still making a profit if you price it right. Anyway, guys, I hope you love this tutorial. I hope you all in Paint Party Headquarters make a ton of money off of this. And be able to provide a great Christmas for your family and all of those wonderful things that you're doing with this paint party money. So I just, I love you guys. I hope y'all are doing great. And please let me know in the Facebook group if you ever have any questions, and have fun this fall and Christmas. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a great one. We are all praying for you. I'm praying for you personally, and I know every Monday we're praying for each other at noon. If you haven't set that alarm yet, 1 minute, Monday, noon Central, and pray for your business, your Paint Party Headquarters sisters businesses, and then also be a part of the prayer and gratitude meeting. That has been so meaningful to a lot of people, including myself, and I hope to see you there. So anyway, I hope you love this vintage Santa, and enjoy.